A new bill to be introduced to foster sustainable industrial development. The Prime Minister responds to opposition criticism as the appropriations bill is passed. A stabbing incident leaves a man in critical condition. And in sports, Combermere in prime position to do the BSSAC double.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening, I'm Pearson Bowen. A sustainable industrial development bill will soon be introduced in Barbados. Minister of Innovation, Marcia Cadell, explained its contents and importance at the opening of the 2024 Science and Technology Festival.
That legislation is really meant to lay out what is our approach to industrial policy. Barbados' history with industry, from tourism to sugarcane to manufacturing to financial services, and now to this new high knowledge economy that we're trying to build out jointly with you at the University of the West Indies, is one that holds a lot of lessons for what we should do better, what we should never do again.
Well, that Expo is organized by the Ministry of Industry, Innovation, Science and Technology in association with the Faculty of Science and Technology of the UWI Cayfield campus. UWI Principal Professor Clive Landis says they're pleased to be on board for the venture.
Innovation, therefore, is not merely a buzzword for the University of the West Indies. It is a commitment to building the robust innovation system to shepherd ideas through the so-called tech transfer funnel, from the creative spark of an idea to a commercially competitive product or service. And I must say, our Faculty of Science and Technology has been at the forefront of this entrepreneurial pursuit.
And hundreds of primary school students descended on the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Centre for this year's festival, organized by the Ministry of Industry, Innovation, Science and Technology in association with the UWI. It featured demonstrations of real-life applications of science across various sectors. We get more details now from Rianne Phillips.
There was no shortage of real-life applications of science and technology on display at this year's Science and Technology Festival. Scores of local and international businesses seized the opportunity to speak about their operations.
So we have lots of different programs at Virgin Atlantic called Passport to Change. So we go into schools and help them with STEM activities and take kids on a journey of designing an airline, so to speak. So we're back again this year. We're sponsoring again this year. So we're flying some paper airplanes with the kids and then also getting them to design meals on board. And then we're talking to them about careers for women in STEM, so female engineers, female pilots, and then also encouraging our young guys of Barbados into careers in STEM.
We see this as an integral part of the thrust for science and technology in Barbados, because astronomy encompasses all of the traditional science disciplines.
I was very excited to explain to the children about my product and how I formulate and use natural and raw ingredients like mango, pomegranate, avocado. It was really exciting to explain to them how we can innovate using our raw materials to make skincare.
Schools also took advantage of the showcase. Among them, St. Lawrence Primary, whose Class 3 students mounted a portable incubator under the theme, Eggs to Chicks, a Hatching Adventure. Student Christina Jones talks about the components and how it works.
Eggs, that's the most important part because it's an chicken incubator. And we need a box to make the incubator and some sawdust to put inside for a surface for the eggs to be on, and water for humidity, and a light bulb with a socket to give the incubator warmth for the eggs to hatch.
and young visitors were impressed with the offerings.
It was awesome. I learned new things about plants, fish, and robots.
This experience was exciting because I got to see solar systems, AI, the periodic table, and a lot more. The activities was fun, and I hope I get to experience another wonderful thing like this. I looked at the robots, and I tried it, and it was so cool. I was so excited, and from the first time I thought it was boring, and now I feel excited now.
The expo ends on Saturday, March 23rd. Rianne Phillips, CBC News.
A 29-year-old man is in critical condition following a stabbing incident at Haggett Hall. At 10:10 this morning, CBC News understands that the young man was taken to hospital by ambulance and underwent emergency surgery. An eyewitness recalled the victim, who lives at Chapel Gap, St. Michael, rushed into a nearby shop appealing for help before collapsing. Good Samaritans attempted to apply pressure to the stab wound until emergency personnel arrived. The area was cordoned off and traffic diverted as the police carried out investigations. Well, the appropriations bill was passed in the lower house of Parliament last evening after a robust defence by government of its stewardship and plans for the country. Joining us now with those stories is Wendy Burke. Wendy.
Yes, Pearson. As she wrapped up debate on the budget, Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley responded to many issues raised by the opposition. Among them was criticism of the size of the Barbados contingent taken to Dubai. She says a number of grants have arisen from such trips.
What happened when we went to Dubai and the year before in Egypt? You know, sir, you hear me talk about the $80 million in grant that the Water Authority get. How do you think we get that? You know, Mr. Speaker, we got $30 million in grant to start something called the Blue-Green Investment Bank that I mentioned and that you will hear more about in this Parliament because the legislation is to come within a month or 6 weeks. $30 million in grant. If I just took the 80 and the $30 million in grant, I ain't even going to the other things that we've gotten or the other consultancies that we get people to pick up for us.
Prime Minister Motley also committed to ensuring Barbados does not face another debt restructure. She made that clear after noting that several other countries that have been through such an exercise have had to do it again.
And that is why we are working so hard, Mr. Speaker. Both Belize and Grenada restructured once, restructured twice. And that is why this team must come together. And if I have some times to be a little unpopular, I will be. Because I do not intend for the government of Barbados to face another debt restructuring in my lifetime. In or outside of Parliament, I will do everything to help those who have ears to listen and hands to act.
The Prime Minister says the country cannot afford any more mistakes. She added that White Oak charged the government for arranging the debt restructuring program was not excessive.
They didn't charge a fee that was disproportionate. They charged a fee of 0.4%. And that 0.4%, let me put it in context now. That's not even 1 cent in a dollar. So out of $10, that is 4 cents out of $10.
Member of Parliament for St. Philip North, Dr. Sonia Brown, is calling on government to enact legislation for seniors who need care.
I'm hoping to see legislation enacted that will have some sort of control in these elderly people being dropped off at the hospital for care. After they're well, they need to go back home or find a more suitable facility.
Similarly, Dr. Brown says the primary care setting needs to be supported.
Truth and in fact, if we do not address the primary care, we are losing the battle against NCDs. Yes, the hospital needs money, but the primary care setting really needs to be supported in terms of staff, in terms of training, in terms of getting the outreach. The nurses need to be really back on the ground in full force. I think some are back now, but in full force. There are elderly people out there that really cannot get to the polyclinic. There are young people out there that think they're well and don't want to come to the polyclinic. So the onus is on the Ministry of Health to actually reach those people that need care.
Minister of State in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Davidson Ishmael, meanwhile, has responded to opposition concerns, this time about the selection of a chief executive officer to lead the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. He's dismissed suggestions government is denying citizens the right to apply or qualify for jobs.
How could we, in a process where there were over 84 applicants, a process where we would have advertised the position globally, not just locally, but globally, we have allowed this advertisement to go across the world and received over 84 applications, and only 2 of them were Barbadians, Madam Deputy Speaker. We did not put in the advertisement, Barbadians need not apply. There was nothing in the advertisement that restricted Barbadians from applying. It was open to all and sundry from across the globe.
Well, Pearson, that's a wrap on Parliament last evening.
Wendy, thank you. We'll take a break here, but coming up, a young man with Down syndrome is the people's choice. This year, World Down Syndrome Day is being celebrated under the theme End the Stereotypes, and one tourism business is doing just that. They can achieve like anyone else, and as Wendy Burke tells us, this young man is achieving on the job.
At just 19 years old, Mario Francis has already left an indelible mark on his team members, hotel staff and management. So much so, he has earned the People's Choice Award. It's an achievement made more remarkable by the fact that he has Down syndrome. The young man started at Sandals through an attachment from his former school, Ann Hill.
In 2002, we reached out because we really wanted to include the differences, whether it is nationality, ability. So we reached out to Ann Hill School, and Demario was their exceptional adult student, and they recommended him. He was able to pass the interview, and he entered the hospitality training program. In that program, Demario did exceptionally well, and he was able to gain a temporary status in the laundry, replacing sick leaves and vacations and what's not. And he went on to do even better. Past his probationary period, he continued to excel.
He's a shy guy who, once he gets to know you, opens up and can be the life of the party. He also pays lots of attention to detail and time.
5 o'clock or let's go early. 5 o'clock or let's early.
You come work tomorrow for 12 o'clock. What time is lunch?
5. You get early time. Yeah. 4:05, yeah, that's early.
Team leader Yvette Padmore says once Demario's tasks are done, he will pitch in and help in other areas.
Mario works very well. He's very friendly. He presses, he dries, he washes, he does everything. He's very, very nice.
So you don't ever have to say to him, you're slowing down, you're lagging?
Nothing like that. He's always ready.
He also loves to cook.
I have butter, I pray, I da.
The hotel has an inclusion policy. Wendy Burke, CBC News.
Well done, Demario. A major initiative got underway in St. Joseph last night aimed at promoting peace, camaraderie and social development through sport. Andrew Lowe tells us about it.
The sport on this occasion is cricket, and it attracted a good crowd at the Grantley Adams Memorial School. Dubbed the St. Joseph T20 Blast, the 10-team competition was organized by Sergeant Rudolph Clark, former Barbados cricketer Antonio Mears, Jamal Noel, and Damien Ford of the National Peace Program. Director of Sports at the National Sports Council, Neil Murrell, believes that the program will not only promote peace, but will assist individuals to develop to their fullest potential.
I know of late, coming out of the Grantley Adams Memorial School and coming out of this part of the world has been the middle order batsman Kevin Wickham. And we want for you during this tournament to produce more Kevin Wickhams. So therefore the older persons who are being part and parcel of watching and playing the cricket, I want you also not only to promote peace, but also to promote those youngsters, have an encouraging word to those youngsters who are up and coming, to help them to reach the pinnacle of cricket.
He told those gathered that they too have a responsibility to assist in encouraging the youth, which will help promote peace. It is a view shared by Assistant Director of the National Peace Program, Damian Ford.
Essentially, what we are doing as a unit or as a program is to utilize sports as a vehicle to ensure that young persons like yourselves who are present here tonight do not, it says that the devil find work for idle hands. So, when we have programs like these and initiatives like these, persons are involved. You don't have time to find yourself involved in any issues. We're not only utilizing cricket as a vehicle, but we're also utilizing other sports.
Ryan Bradford represented MP for St. Joseph and Attorney General Dale Marshall, who was engaged in the budget debate. He thanked AG Marshall and the National Peace Program for their assistance in organizing the competition.
I can't recall ever in St. Joseph having a bounty of $10,000 for a cash prize. And that speaks to the commitment of the program and also to the MP in ensuring that the young people of St. Joseph, both young and not so young, that everyone has the same opportunities.
He's encouraging discipline and order throughout the tournament. The first match involved the St. Joseph Adrian Connell Sunrisers versus the St. Joseph Kolkata Masters, led by former Barbados and West Indies batsman Dale Richards, who hit 86 to lead the Masters to victory. Games will be played at Lamings and St. Elizabeth. Andrew Lowe, CBC News.
Renowned Barbadian photographer William Alen has passed. He died on Tuesday night at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital at the age of 91. Willie, as he was affectionately called, has been hailed across the photography and media fraternity as a giant and likened unto one of the legendary cricketing 3Ws. A giant of a man, Mr. Alen's name cannot be said without mention being made of the other two greats in photography, Gordon Brooks and Cyprian Latouche Jr. Prime Minister, the Honourable Mia Amor Motley, in a statement, said news of Mr. Alen's death marks the end of an era and offered condolences on behalf of the government and the people of Barbados. She said as she reflected on her own life, she cannot help but acknowledge the critical contributions people like Willie Alen have made to the preservation of key images of Barbadian history and culture. Photographer and visual historian Ronnie Carrington said his second job was with Mr. Alen back in the 1970s, where he spent about 5 years before branching off on his own.
Willie was a very magnanimous person. He was very giving. He's very, he was a gentleman to start, I must tell you. He was selfless, so he was happy to share his talent. And as a young photographer, I was very grateful that he, was able to mentor me.
Mr. Alen worked for the Board of Tourism as their principal photographer, as well as the Caribbean liaison photographer for the Associated Press for many years. Veteran investigative journalist Al Gilks has many a fond memory of Mr. Alen. He described Mr. Alen as reserved, with a pleasant personality and always smiling.
I will miss, although I have not been in contact with him recently. I've not seen him recently. I've not been on any assignments recently, and I guess that has he. So we have not touched base recently. But in my memory, he is still alive. He will always be there. We meet again somewhere and beyond.
Mr. Alen was honoured in 2010 by the Barbadian government with the National Silver Crown of Merit and 8 years later by the Barbados Tourism Board with a Lifetime Achievement Award for his work over 7 decades in the field. He leaves to mourn his 3 children, Wendy, Irwin and Wallace. He was predeceased by his wife, Elise.
Sports Night, brought to you with the compliments of Great Health Works, agents for Omega XL.
I know a number of you are biting at the bit to find out what happened in sports today, as am I. We are joined now by Mark Seal. Mark, good evening.
Very good evening, Pearson. Well, I can tell you that Combermere are once again leading both the girls and the boys divisions going into tomorrow's final day of the 2024 Desani Powerade BSSAC Championships. After today's action on day one of the finals at the Usain Bolt Sports Complex, the Waterford athletes are out front in the girls with 202 points. Now that's just 13.5 points ahead of previous leaders, the St. Michael's School on 188.5, and they are followed by the Alen School on 139. Now in the boys, Combermere are holding a 45-point lead over Harrison College, 201 to 157, with Queen's College third on 136. Now, let's first have a look at the fastest junior athletes on the island, with the under-17s and under-20s 100 meters.
Tristan Evelyn holds the record here, 11.87. Nurse comes in with a 12.57. On your mark. Set. And we're off for a run. Look at Naya Nurse is up quickly. Here comes Queen's College looking good as Kalia Hines. But Naya Nurse goes to the front for good. And Naya Nurse pulls away from the post of Trucker. She's gone away from the good by Good Night Nurse. And Naya Nurse, lethal, wins the under-17 girls 100. Set. And we've gone away the second time of asking, and this is the under-17 boys 100 meter. Look at Giovanni Lee go to the front early on to Kai Booston. As way back, Giovanni Lee hits the front for good. It's Covington Parry to Franco, under-17 boys champion, Giovanni Lee. On your mark, set and gone. Third time of asking. St. Michael's School getting up quickly. That's Jada Williams, but look in the middle of the track. Here comes Alika Harewood, and Williams. Alika Harewood pulls away from Alika Harewood. Straight go home for Combermere School. Alika Harewood for Combermere. Interesting. On your mark and going though for the under-20 boys 100 meter final. Aragon Stricker will have cruise control here at 50. Aragon Stricker's under no pressure. Tatum Green is coming in, but Aragon Stricker wins it again. He's a 100 meter champion for the second time at BSSAC 2023, no 24.
And there was also tight competition in the under-13 and under-15 800 meters.
The top three, pretty even. Selman of St. George starts to fade a lot. Now we can see, looks like an athlete from the Lord's School, Tiana Burke, started to make her move as well. In the closing stages, though, it's all about Princess Margaret's to Leah Lucas. Lucas is running really well. She goes a little wide.
Here come the kickers.
Yep. Here we go. Lucas starts to fade. Hold on in the last moment. Talia Lucas. Can she win the other 13 girls? She does so. Crosses the line now. Fight off a second. Just slipping home. Representing college. Chairman of SMS goes to the front with 200 to go, but he's not been able to shake them off because here comes Chase of St. Leonard's boys for that second spot. Chase starts to move. Goes to the front. Can he hold on? Perhaps not because Gemma is fighting back. Gemma goes around him like a Ferrari around a Toyota Corolla. Look at the movement from Gemma SMS. His chest is up. He's looking at goal. He's on his way with 10 meters to go. And it's going to be Raheem Gemma to win the under-13 boys 800 meters for SMS. Coming home for that second spot, the Combermere School. Well done. 200 meters done and dusted. 150 more to go. Victory Bourne just starts to slope a lot. Here comes the athlete though from, looks like Spring Memorial. That's Lane. What will transpire here? Victory Bourne and the Kezia Hunt in the closing stages. Under 100 meters to go. About 50, and it's Victoria Bourne. Victory Bourne, the right name, the right place. Can it be the right number? And that will be number one. Victory Bourne of Dighton Griffith. She's got a strong challenge for Spring Memorial. Here comes Victory Bourne. Can she bring Springer in for second? Victory Bourne just across the line. Spring Memorial. Zazaria Lane easing in there for that second spot. 150 to go. Alex Simmons versus Joseph Ford, who has the sprinting ability in the closing stages here of the under 15 boys. 800 meters. They come around the curve, and it's Alex Simmons in traditional form, almost like Sister Ashlyn. Alex is going to have a slice of the spotlight. It's a household of supremacy. It's Alex Simmons, a dream come true for Mum, Dad, and all the crew. Alex Simmons hits goal for Combermere School. Second position, Christchurch Foundations, Joseph Ford. And that third spot, DeMarco Mears of Courage and Parry. Well done to Alex Simmons.
As we continue to highlight some of the newsmakers and attention grabbers at BSSAC, tonight the spotlight is on a field event athlete from the north.
The story of Tyra Gittins is a remarkable one. Last year, the 14-year-old Courage Empari student advanced to the final of the junior girls discus event. She finished 8th. Fast forward to 12 months later. Gittins competed in the same event and the same division, but this time around, she was standing tall, not only in height, but as the champion.
I feel good, I'm proud of myself.
Tyra's journey towards BSSAC success is a very interesting one. So let's find out where it all started for her.
I just see people doing it and I do like it. First time I see people doing it. But last BSSAC, I learned the discuss a day before my event, and I make it to the finals. But I can't 8th, so I was just practicing.
Tyra is under the guidance of one of Barbados' most qualified and established athletics coaches, in Ramon Armstrong.
So Armstrong was pressuring me to go track, so I just had a good track. He's a good coach.
Our athlete in the spotlight is Courage Empari's discus champion, Tyra Gittins.
The Business Report, brought to you with the compliments of Republic Bank. We're the one for you.
In tonight's business report, small island developing states like Barbados are being impacted disproportionately by the changing landscape of international trade and logistics. While stressing that SIDS require support, Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, Pedro Moreno, expects current challenges will be tackled as UNCTAD and the government of Barbados hosts the first Global Supply Chain Forum in May. That event responds to a call by Barbados Prime Minister Mia Motley during the 15th UNCTAD Ministerial Conference, urging the world to build resilient supply chains in developing countries. A media launch was held on Wednesday for that event with local and international press.
This forum then aims precisely at finding sustainable solutions to these challenges and identify opportunities. The good news is that many practical solutions already exist to facilitate trade. Modernize ports, adapt transport infrastructure, and build resilience in maritime transport. But a big challenge is funding, and currently funding gaps are big. And this is something that the government of Barbados, through the Prime Minister Motley, has been advocating for in many international fora.
Permanent representative of Barbados to the UN at Geneva, Ambassador Matthew Wilson, is reporting progress as he touted the island's advocacy for more to be done for SIDS.
UNCTAD is in the process of establishing a dedicated SIDS program and platform, including a trust fund. This has been a concrete outcome of Barbados' advocacy and influence. And I send warm regards to Secretary General Rebecca Greenspan for very much being a great pilot of this initiative.
Back now to all the action in sports with Mark Seal.
Tommaso Leson is Barbados' only hope left in the Live Like Xander Junior Pro event. This is surfing after booking a quarterfinal spot at the Super Bowl today. Leson won Heat 3 in the men's round of 32 with a best score of 9.0 for an overall total of 15.4. He will compete in Heat number 2 tomorrow. National rower Kyle Spenard has missed out on qualification for the 2024 Paris Olympic Games, but he's seen the experience as a good one in his development. Ranked 42nd in the world in still water sculling, he shared his journey with CBC's Anne-Marie Burke.
The qualification road to Paris 2024 may have come to an end for national rower Kyle Spenard, and in his bid to get to the Sporting World Showpiece, the journey was definitely not an easy one. It started in Serbia at the World Rowing Championships, then to the Pan American Games in Chile, and most recently with the final stop in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil for the America's Olympic qualifiers. It was from there that he spoke to us.
Going to the World Championships and going to the Pan American Games, not quite hitting the mark at either of those competitions, not having access to the high performance center and coaches that I've needed, not having that at my disposal has made it quite tough. The challenges that I faced, I kind of came back and had a new approach throughout the winter we're using the video analysis as much as I can, trying to send Anthony as much videos as I can with my training, and therefore getting the feedback I can, or trying to use as much information as possible so that I can go into the next session with an idea of what I need to do.
As Kyle mentioned, one of the major things he lacks is a designated coach. President of the Barbados Rowing Association, Anthony Yard, has been trying to fill that gap. However, with Kyle based in Canada and he here in Barbados, that has made it very difficult.
We have to do video analysis of Kyle, seeing that he did not and still don't have a coach. And that is a hard thing to do while we are lending him some form of coaching. By doing analysis of videos of sessions he would have, writing and giving him workouts sometimes that he can do so that we can all have a more effective way of getting around. So a coach is really needed for Kyle in Canada than having me to try to do an analysis of the videos and a critique and then to help correct his techniques and so on. So it has been a challenge.
Despite this, Kyle, who competes in stillwater sculling, was able to achieve a personal best performance in Brazil, a 7-minute 58-second clocking, and a second place in the C final. I must add that had it not been for an injury of an arm and calf strain, he would have advanced to the next round. However, he did take some positives out of the experience.
I'm glad I was able to come to Rio and prove myself, prove the training is where it proved that Barbados has a place on this world stage, and that I can go back home, hopefully with more support. With the Barbados Rowing Association be very supportive. The Barbados Olympic Association has been very supportive, and we continue with this support, getting me into the correct spaces so that I can have the access to the coaches as I've proven here with competitive times.
Next up for Kyle will be this year's World Rowing Championships in St. Catharines, Canada, set for August 18th to 25th.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. And moving on, we have that the Barbados Auto Racing League is back after a 4-year hiatus from circuit racing. It was in October 2020 when the 28-year-old club hosted the event, a time attack and a track day drifting at Bushy Park, which attracted 40 cars and drivers. League chair Stefan Hines says this year's racing season kicks off with circuit racing and a time attack event on April 21st.
We have 4 groups within the club, Group 1, Group 2, Group 3, and Group 4. Within those groups, there are specific classes as well, depending on CC sizes, etc. So we mainly those 4 groups in the circuit racing aspect of it, and then on the time attack would be the 4 classes I would have mentioned as well.
Hines also stressed that after a decade of shifts and changes in the club and in motorsport by extension, Burl is in the process of rebuilding.
We also have a generation of drivers between 2013 and 2023 that we also need to reconnect with, because it's also about the continuity. So you need to redevelop new drivers, etc. So we got to reconnect with our lost generation in effect as well, and that would be part of the mandate. So from a crowd perspective, bear with us. We're working towards getting back to where we were, but the day should still be pretty exciting.
Well, that's our time tonight. Thank you for spending it with us. I'm Pearson Bowen. For the crew, to all of you, good night. By God's will, we'll see you tomorrow.